Hi all, welcome back to another Cormac on Cars video, and today it's all about the Porsche 997.1 Turbo. The question I want to answer, is it any good? Here she is in all her glory, the Porsche 997.1 Turbo. So let's get in and take a first ride. Well, welcome to the Porsche 911 997.1 Turbo, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first Porsche I've ever driven, but the reason I've got this out is because there's one main question I want to answer. Is it better than the Ferrari 430, the same era of that car? So the Ferrari 430 has the 4.3 litre V8. This has got the 3.6 litre twin turbo rear engine flat 6, which produces 480 brake horsepower, same as the Ferrari, and 620 newton meters of torque. The power is sent to all four wheels via a 6-speed manual gearbox. PDK and the Tiptronics are also available. This will go to 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds and onto a top speed of 193. You know, I've never really been a fan of Porsches. I've always thought they're more like glorified VW Beetles. You know, so it's not really done anything for me before. From only driving it for a brief few minutes, is actually annoyingly really quite good. I mean, it just drives a hell of a lot better than a Ferrari the equivalent Ferrari 430. Even though I haven't driven one, it really is. It's just fantastic. It's just got about 3,000 RPM. I'm hardly on the throttle. The turbos come in. Now that's 3,000. The boost is coming in now. And it just handles so well. It's so tight, it's precise. You know, and unlike most supercars of today, you know, this isn't wide, it's normal. It's really easy to drive. I'm getting ounces of feedback. Look at that through the corner. I think this is the first car I've ever driven where there's no understeer or no oversteer. It's just you and the car, boom, straight into the corner. So it really gives you the confidence to throw it into the corners at speed. And it's not overly loud either. I mean, it's subtle. But I'm driving it along in normal. If I now go into sports mode, this is where it sharpens up the throttle response and makes the car a lot stiffer. And when you're driving it through a town normally, going in sports mode, it's made the suspension a lot stiffer, so I'm getting every bump I'm feeling every bump in the car. But it just makes everything so much better. Quicker throttle response, sharp through the corners, the suspension stiffer. And I can feel the power going to all four wheels, front, left, back to back. It really is. It's fantastic. And I'm sorry to say, I think in the real world, this is faster than a 430. And you've got to think, when this came out, it was about £25,000 less expensive as well. So do you go for the Ferrari or do you go for a Porsche? No, this just feels more, it's easier to drive than the 996 as well, the generation before this, because this was about the 5th generation. It just feels much better, like much more easier to drive. It's more, this is what this reminds me of is your analogue supercar. It's just engine at the back, driver at the wheel, and four-wheel drive, and 480 horsepower, which is so easy to love the steering wheel, it's beautiful. You've got your 12 o'clock. And when you give it to me, just come on to the front. So you drop it down the gear, 3,000 revs, those turbos go boost and they kick in. When those turbos kick in, it's so strong, it really tries to keep throwing you back in the seats and it holds you there. And there's not really any turbo lag, which I'm surprised about as well. I have to say, I'm really impressed with it, because I didn't think the 911s have never really appealed to me. And the thing is, compared to a 992, that doesn't really turn any heads, because there's loads of people who've got them these days. This really does turn heads and people look at it. But I just can't get over that feeling that it is basically a glorified VW Beetle, just in dragon with a bigger engine, you know. It's fantastic. That is it. See, with the Ferrari 430, you'd be worried about taking it out every day in weather and putting miles on it because of depreciation costs. This, you wouldn't be. It's a daily super. You can daily drive it and not have to worry about it, you know, because you will not take a Ferrari out in these kind of conditions. This is completely different. Millimetrically perfect. It's so diverse, it's precise, it really is. It's good. This is a proper driver's car. Yeah, and this is the 996. I think is a car that people should buy now while they're still fairly cheap, because I think these are going to start going up in price with because you don't see many of them around. It's like it's a modern classic, what I like to call it now. I think they are going to go up in price, which is why you should buy one now sooner rather than later. I love the Alcantara wheel, I just love the way it feels and all that, and the Alcantara gear shifter. Proper analogue 6-speed manual gearbox. See, if you're going to get one of these, you have to have the manual. I know they did the Tiptronics later on, but this is proper good. And then the turbo kicks in. For me personally, because I like flashiness and all that, I think I'd still rather have the Ferrari 430 over this, even though this is a hell of a lot better. You know, the Ferrari's more expensive, it'll cost more in the long run, but this is just much better. And I like how the dials are all up in front of you. You've got your rev counter, your mileage odometer, you've got your speedometer, your temperature gauges, your water gauge. I like driving it with the window down as well, because you can really hear the sound of that flat six, and it makes a glorious, glorious noise. It just handles so flat, there's no roll in the car whatsoever, it's just stiff. It's starting to feel a little bit dated in here now, because it is an older car, so the sat nav is lacking in updating and all that. It's an older version of it, so it would need updating. So it's not the most reliable. Like a little whoosh off the turbo, so when you go up to about 3,000 and come off the throttle, you get like a little whoosh, and it's easy to see from. Like usually the cars I'm used to driving, you're really struggling to see in front of you over the bonnet, but you can see perfectly, it's fine. You just get the nice louvers and the curves off the lights. Like a Ford Focus or something, you know, it's just easy to drive every day. Whereas a Ferrari, you'd be like worrying if it's going to get scratched or someone's going to key it or do something to it. You know, that. With this, you don't have to worry about that. Straight around that corner, no problem at all. Turbo can always come in and get that wash. See, this has got quite a different clutch to most cars I'm used to driving. I've got to get the biting point right on it, you know. so analogue. I really like it. Pleasantly surprised by how much it just wants to keep going. You know, I still think this will give most supercars of today a run for its money. Now you hold it, if I come back, hold back, and then the turbos kick in, it just keeps pulling. Like I said, I'd still rather have the 430, but this, you've got to buy one of these. Annoyingly, it's really rather very, very good. It's tremendous. It put a smile on my face because I understand why people like these, and then I understand why they don't as well. And you know. But anyway, I thank you all very much for watching the Cormac on Cars video today. Head over to my YouTube channel, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time for another video.